Hi guys, Ryan Bailey here, bringing you episode 26 of the Ball Talk podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined by Ballymun Kickham's footballer Ted Furman. Ted recently featured on the Ballymun Kickham's documentary Passing It On that aired on RT last week. In this podcast, myself and Ted look deeper into racism and abuse in the GAA, Paddy Christie's influence on him growing up, and the importance of speaking out about your mental health. Before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor for today's podcast, Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. Adapt are based between Sligo and Mayo, and you can find their contact information on Instagram. Just search adapt_Sligo and give them a follow. Subscribe here if you're new. Check out more content like this on the channel, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Yourself, I suppose your social media and stuff is probably hopping now with the documentary coming back around again.
Stop now. I think last Thursday night I nearly had to turn the phone off. So it's just, in fairness, now it's great. It's great for everyone involved, and it's great, obviously, for the club, for it to be recognised for the work, and especially Paddy for what he's done for us. And I think for the lads that wouldn't be used to speaking, it's a bit surreal in a way. It's all good fun, and all the feedback that has come from it has been fantastic. There hasn't been, I don't think there's been anything really negative about that has come out from it. And I think the main thing that is people have understood what it's like for people like ourselves, and what the difficulties that we would have dealt with.
Yeah, and I found even watching it myself, because I had watched it when it came out originally, but never given it the recognition that I would have, because myself and my brother watched it twice over the weekend. We got a good history lesson out of it. And apart from the football side of things and the work, as you said, that Paddy Christie did with you, it is a good history lesson too, because there's the whole country has this perception, whether it's places like Ballymun, places like Limerick, there are these perceptions that are probably just passed down from generation to generation. But it's for me, living out in the back arse of Sligo, getting to see what it's like growing up there.
Yeah, well, as I said, and it's one of the things I actually said in the documentary, is that many areas have their bad parts, and there is bad people in all areas and all over Ireland, not all over the country, But the thing is, there is some good people in them areas that do great things for people, and for us, Paddy was one of them, and it wasn't just Paddy. There was numerous people that helped Paddy in the club and around in the area that helped us be the people that we were
100%. So you kind of touched on it in the documentary about, well, of course, there was a lot about, I suppose, the abuse that you would have had to handle as a team on the pitch. But there was a couple of minutes where you got to go into it more directly in terms of yourself.
Well, look, I think growing up in particularly in Ballymun, and as I was known as a lower class area for people, so for me, growing up in a time where there wasn't a minority growing up, it was difficult, and people probably just didn't understand it, and the thing for me, and again, it was one of the things that Paddy helped me on over through the years growing up, it wasn't about me and the skin. It was obviously about the skin colour that I have, but sometimes it was about just being better. If you were a better footballer than someone else, that the only way they could get at you was to actually racially abuse you, but they didn't know what you were saying. And at the minute now, just work of being, I speak with Jason Sherlock a lot, and the two of us kind of comprehend what can we do to try and change the mentality around it, And it's one of the things that have come out from the documentary that I've been tagged in a lot. It was a line that I used, and it wasn't about this colour of the skin, but it was about the colour of the jersey that you have on, and that's one thing that I kind of always kind of try to remember, that I was different to other people, and at times people made you feel very different because of the skin colour that I had, and in ways it's sad. Because it's only now when you look back on it, you're like, geez, they just need to be re-educated on the racial slurs that they're going to give out, and how someone like myself might feel. Even though I might laugh it off, and there's been times where I've reacted really badly to it, because, and it sometimes it's not even the players, it's coming from the sidelines.
Yeah, that's the part that really caught me now when I was watching the documentary was when you said how it came from the sidelines, from whether that be parents or supporters or what, because you would think that without you saying that it was the sideline it was coming from, you'd think that it was your marker that were saying to you or somebody on.
Yeah, no. And believe it or not, I don't think I've ever actually had a marker do it to me, like racially
Right.
abuse me. I think either there has been times on the pitch where someone has said something like where I've hit them, say if I hit them a shoulder, and
Yeah, yeah,
they didn't like the veracity in it or whatever, and they're like, like then they'll throw out a racial slur, and I'm like, and I turn around and sometimes I'd react really, really badly. Sometimes I'd just try and laugh it off, and you're like, come on, like grow up,
yeah,
but it's still, and the sad thing is, it's still happening this day and age.
yeah,
I had two instances last year playing football where I was racially abused playing a match.
yeah,
So it's not that it was just happening back then. It's unfortunately it's still happening nowadays, and that's one of the things that me and Jason have been talking about and trying to what can we do. And what can it's not even just us, but we were just kind of just trying to throw things back and forward. Like what would we like to see happening? Because obviously there's a lot of things coming about out now with the GAA and trying to change with the Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
yeah,
Uh, it's finally people are starting to stand up and take notice of it. That it's not right
yeah.
if someone feels, and unfortunately it's not just the GAA, it's not in all sports. It's something that it's very hard to prove.
Hmm. And as you were saying there, so those, as you said, those two incidences last year where you were racially abused, and that kind of leads on to my next question. Is it something that you found over time from playing as a teenager and even younger than that to playing as an adult? Has the amount of abuse changed? Have people matured, or has it got worse, or is there just a constant flow of it?
Well, I think last year was. I'm hoping that it was just a blip in the road,
Okay.
because like the last time I was kind of racially abused would have been a few years ago, like it would have been. I think the last time I was kind of racially abused was over when I was over in the States, and again it was just different things, different mentalities, different people. But
Yeah.
over here, the last time I was abused would have been probably God knows nearly 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So in that sense, yeah, people have like people's mentality around have changed. And the thing is, there's a lot more minorities coming into the country. So I think, and as you can see with your man down in Westmeath playing, like it's great for football, and it's great for the different backgrounds that they have someone that they say, well, if he's playing, well, I can play. If he can
Yeah.
do it and he can stand up, and it's for all these people now to stand up and say, look, I can do it. Yes, you have to take the good with the bad at times as well, and like at times people just they don't, and sometimes it's just a small blip, like they don't even realize what they're saying.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, but in saying that, like, and it comes down to a lot of things. It's how they're raised, and it's what their mindset is regarding, and what they're taught at home and in school, like when if they're interacting with these different groups as well, like it's a lot. And then, like the thing is for yourself, it's for people coming into the club, it can be like it's difficult for them
Hmm.
because already people have a perception about the Africans or Americans or wherever. Like it's people have a perception about different walks of life, and
Yeah.
unfortunately for these people coming in, they find it harder to interact with people because of how the parents might feel about these people. Like, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not the kids. The kids are only going on what they're taught at home. Like,
Yeah. And at the same time as well, they're the same kids that are going to school together,
yeah,
and then going onto the football field. It seems like it's just click, and it's just like a completely different zone that you kind of have to watch when you're that minority, as I say, going into that
yeah, and
new world sort of.
sometimes the 9 times out of 10, like these people, they'll try more, they'll try and work harder because they feel like that they need to fit in with other people, like which shouldn't be the case. They shouldn't have to feel like they have to go above and beyond to feel accepted.
Hmm.
And I think that's the mindset that you're trying to change around people. And unfortunately, it's just what they're ingrained with,
Yeah.
and the thing is, with the likes of this, if people, like even the guy the young fella in your club, if he was to listen to it and if to help him try and go on, and just believe in yourself and don't worry. And if people are going to slag you, it means because you're getting the better of them.
100%, yeah.
And that's one thing that Paddy taught me, is that the only reason that people try and abuse you or try and slag you, or you're getting abused from the sideline, is you're doing really well or you're actually doing really shit.
Yeah.
But majority of the time it's because you're playing well and people feel like they have to get on you. They try and bring you down. Like,
Yeah, definitely. As you're saying there, Paddy Christie and the documentary, there was the majority of the documentary, I suppose, is aimed at the work that Paddy did with your team and bringing you from under 10, under 12 age right up to under 21. And it is, I suppose, you're very lucky in that sense. There's probably guys that would have played like myself now. I'd be in my last year of under 21, so going from under 10 up to under 21, it's probably, if you're talking individual or teams of managers, you're probably talking 7 or 8 different sets of managers. Like how, like looking back on that now, you're very lucky in that sense to have had Paddy for that amount of time.
Yeah, look, for someone like for someone like myself, it was fantastic. Like, because like that team, I was actually 2 years younger than everyone.
Okay.
So I was always playing ahead of myself. And like I started playing senior football probably when I was about, like, when I was really, really young. Like, so I was kind of always, there was always a kind of pulling and dragging between different teams and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Paddy was always the one that I was really called. He was the one I looked at as being my manager, regardless whether I was playing with the seniors or was with the 21s. Like when I was under 16, like.
Yeah.
And it's going back years. With God, Jesus, it wouldn't be happening nowadays. Like, but like I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I had fantastic days out with the team, but it was just the fact that we had that structure and the consistency with Paddy being there. Like, I'm sure Paddy probably pulled his hair out more times than none with the amount of finals and semi-finals that we would have lost. Like, and for someone like that, and even players get disheartened from it. And as you can see from the documentary, what we all spoke about is the fact that we could see Paddy coming back every single time made us want to come back and wanted us to be successful. Like,
yes, that drive for success, and like, because there's managers in his position that would have taken your first year of under 14, lost the semi-final, and said, "I'm not dealing with these bucks again."
Yeah,
I might take them minor, but that'd be it.
So you get the fail. We lose the fail. I think it was the fail of final or semi-final. Then we get to the under 15s, lose that final. Under 16s, lose that final. 2 minor finals. Like, the man's a saint for even putting up with that. Like,
yeah, and then like, there's a lot of clubs that will succeed very, very much at underage, and go into senior. Then they can maybe bring through 1 or 2 every year, but they don't. There's something missing there. If you get what I'm saying, there's A championship. To go up to senior, they might be intermediate, or they might be down in junior or something. But you had that mentality in Ballymun, and it stood to you then, of course, in 2012 when you were, as you said, losing finals. You won the under 21, but you got the senior championship then in 2012.
Yeah, well, we had won back-to-back 21 championship in Dublin, and as again, I think I don't know who mentioned it. But it was 2 years later, then we got to the senior final. And 12 of that 21's team that started the second final, started that night against Kimberley Crokes in Parnell Park. Like.
That's crazy.
So to have that is incredible. Like, because that's a core group. That's a core group that grew up all the way through. And we've lost together, we've won together, we've, like, fellas have, like, spilled blood and all. Like, and it's I know it sounds like a cliche and stuff like that. But I know that one of the fellas standing next to me is going to put his head in where most fellas wouldn't put their hands, like.
Yeah.
And so I think it's that never say die. And then it came back to obviously you have that mentality that people are always going to look down on you. Obviously being from Ballymun and because of all the perception that Ballymun had because of the flats and everything. So when that steel was there, like, there was no one going to bring us down. Like, in 2012, everything just kind of came together then with the help of Paul Curran, like.
Yeah, and so 2012, you won 2012, went on, won Leinster, and then you go on to the All Ireland. Then it was St. Bridget's in the final.
Yeah.
Yeah, even getting to it just shows like the competitiveness that's there in the majority of counties, whether it's when you look at clubs like clubs in Dublin, in Mayo, in Galway, in even Roscommon, St. Bridget's, you do
Yeah,
so well to win your championship. You go on to an All Ireland then, but then you see that that's the last time the E won a senior championship. Is that
yeah,
competitive out of your own county first of all?
yeah. Like, and the thing is, like, we've probably, in ways, we probably can say we've underachieved at different times. Like we lost that year. We lost the club final, and then we went and lost the Dublin final in the same year. So that was a lot to take. Like, and then I think Vincent went on to win the club All Ireland that year in 2013
Yeah,
after beating us in the final. And like, I think we've been back to the final twice since, lost in two semi-finals as well. So like, we've had our chances, we have, and the lads at the minute are putting the effort in. I still think the team is still there to come back and do it again. Like,
definitely, yeah. Because I watched the game last week against Thomas Davis as well, and
yeah,
like just even the style of football, like running from deep and everything, and as well as that, it's great to see the guys that you'd see on the Sunday game around this time of year playing with the county to be playing with the club lads as well.
yeah, no, it's fantastic. Now I'm at the minute now I'm not involved with the senior team. I'm just playing with the intermediates and just enjoying playing football now for the time being. Like, but watching the lads and seeing them play and seeing them in person, it's great, and it's great to have them around the club, and it's great for the youngsters there as well, like, to see these lads playing, and like they're not at the end of the year when like it's coming into the depths of winter, they're getting summer football, and you can see the expression in the lads and how much they're enjoying it.
Yeah, and everyone's on a par as well because it's not a case of lads getting playing for all year and then the county lads come back and you're like, oh, I know well that this fella's going
Yeah.
to take my place now. Everyone's on the same level from the start.
Yeah, well, that's it. Everyone kind of had a clean slate this year,
Mm.
and I think you can see the lads. Everyone has put in the effort, and they're all striving for the same goal. And it comes back to with the amount of losses that we've had previously, that the lads, they want to put that right. Eventually, we have to put it right, and
Yeah,
that's the mentality. We can't go around for long enough and say, oh yeah, we've only won one championship. There is a couple more championships in the team, and I fully believe that. Like, and there's plenty of youngsters there that have come through onto the senior panel that are pushing the older lads now. Like, and I say older lads, and we're only 31, 32. Like,
that's it. Yeah,
that.
there's plenty of time left.
So, but look, it comes down to it comes down to the team. It comes down to the individual and how hard they want it. I think you can see a difference with the lads this year, and the fact that everyone is pushing each other on. Like,
Hmm. Do you reckon? What do you reckon? With the new restrictions brought in now, do you think the GA are going to get that overturned? Are they going to are they going to topple the government?
I think I'll keep it 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's sad in a way. You don't know what whether you're coming or going with it or not. Like, and I suppose you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Like,
yeah,
I think we're kind of all in the same boat. We hated when the football wasn't there. Now we loved it now when it's back, and the people are trying to take it away again. And you're like, and at the end of the day, people just want to go and watch football. And it's not even just for, like, the lads want to play football, but at the same time, you have your parents. Like, I have a young son as well, who I enjoy getting him to brought out to games so he can watch me play. And it'll be the
definitely.
same
Yeah.
with other lads that have kids and like their partners and all that want to go out, and even their grandparents. Like,
Hmm.
and it's only for an hour or two a day. Like, and if we can get out and watch a match, it's great. And look, we have to just, I think, as you say, just try and get back to normal. Like, and just
Do what we
get
have to,
everything
I
going.
suppose. Yeah, because even with the underage, nearly more. So with the underage, I suppose there's the senior games and intermediate games and whatnot. They can be streamed on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But the
Yeah,
underage games is
they're going into a different kind of fish now. And
yeah.
that
Are,
one,
are, are Paddy and Mary supposed to bring their child from South Kerry halfway up the county and drop them off for another 12 game or something like that? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And
there's that
then
look
you're
into
hearing
it.
that only one parent is allowed go, and
Yeah,
it's right. And then the GA come out and say they're allowing 40 people from each club or something now.
yeah.
That's something that I heard today. Like, so, like, you thought, sure, half of the panel takes up that. Like,
Yeah, well, like I know with us, there's 40, 42 or 43 of a panel. Like,
And that's including your managers, your
no,
like the coaches and no.
no, it's about 6 or 7 more on top of that. I tell you, I was only looking at last week because all the programs, match programs, are all online now. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's some panels that maybe have 25, 26, maybe one or two, but there's more. There's bigger panels in Sligo than there ever was. There's panels with 46, 45. You can't even get 46 on the back of
But no one going on J1s, that's why.
yeah, exactly.
They're all
Uh,
stuck at home.
yeah, but yeah, as you said, now hopefully things can get back if we can even get next year if we can get crowds back and back
Yeah,
to
well,
somewhat normality.
look, that's what you're hoping for. Like in come here, look, everyone loves playing in front of a big crowd. Like,
Yeah.
none more so than myself. Like, there's nothing better than playing under the lights in Parnell Park and you've a full crowd there, like full house.
Hmm.
Like that's what people thrive, and even for the lads in Crow Park, all on final Sunday and there's over 65,000. Like that's like 82,000, whatever. Like that's what you want. You know,
100%.
that's what you're playing sport. Like for the young lads now growing up, that's what they're looking for. Like that's what they're striving for. They're going around practicing the kicks. Imagine that they're McConney or Gooch Cooper or like that's what they want to do. Like,
Yeah.
and unfortunately now that's all being taken away from them, and you can't even go. And Paddy and John can't even come in from the club. Like,
Yeah. I know as you said there earlier, it's just to try and get it back to normal, hopefully, and it's a waiting game. So
yeah, well
yeah,
that's it. It's come here. Look, it's like everything in life. You just have to. You live and learn. You go as you work away as you go along. Like,
hmm. Um, again, bouncing on to another topic, it's something that I did try and do a bit of research on my guests, but it's I only saw it. I went about 2 3 posts down into your Instagram, and you had a post up on your battle with mental health,
yes,
and I think it's definitely something in the time that we're in the country as well. It's something that we need to talk about. So I let you take it away from here and
yeah.
tell us your
Well,
story.
for me, it wouldn't be very well known my battle with mental health anyway. I kind of would have hid a lot of things from a lot of people, like with how I was feeling or anything that was going on, like, and like I probably would have been suffering for good over a year, and again, it was kind of more pride and everything that I was afraid to say out to anyone, like, until it was too late, and unfortunately then like I got to a stage where I felt just that was it. I couldn't cope or whatever. And it was only then afterwards I realised how many people I had around me. And all I had to do was pick up the phone and just say, look, I'm not feeling well, or I'm not feeling great, and or I'm having a bad day. And unfortunately you don't realise that when your mind is in that sort of mental, when you have that sort of mentality, like,
Hmm.
when you feel like that there's no way out for yourself. And look, I put up the post out there, and I wasn't really just looking for attention or anything like that. I was trying to more so to help other people in ways that if they ever felt like that they can't speak to someone,
Yeah.
that don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed by it. And because that was one thing I was embarrassed by it. I was embarrassed that I wasn't myself, or I was depressed, like I was other issues, other things, outside factors going on. Football wasn't going right, and because the football wasn't going right, it was probably making me worse. But it was worse because the football wasn't going right. If you get me, like.
Yeah.
And then there's outside there was a lot of mitigating factors roll into one, and unfortunately, it's life, you know, and people struggle an awful lot, and particularly males struggle an awful lot, and I think when it comes to the whole macho thing, oh, I'm a man, I can't tell you how I really feel.
Yeah.
I think we just need to do away with all of that, and don't be afraid. And again, like, I've had a lot of people, and people that I wouldn't have expected to get in contact with me after that and help me an awful lot. And for me, I will always hold them grateful for me, And for my family, they'll cherish the work, how they've helped me afterwards. Like, and again, I have to say, like PA House helped me an awful lot. Even the GPA, through the GPA, helped me, like with Paul Flynn reached out and all, and the GPA got me into counselling. That was another thing that was a huge, helped me an awful lot. Like, and even now, I still do counselling now. I'm still in it 2 times a week. Like, my battle is still continuing, and my battle will always continue.
Yeah.
And I think, like I'm like, come here, look, I'm nowhere near out the other side, but I'm there. Like, I've come out the other side of it in a way that I can look at things differently now. And look, I've went back. I wasn't playing football at the start of the year, obviously, as you can, with everything that was going on. But now I'm back playing, training probably as hard as ever, and
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying football, and I'm enjoying life, and I'm just enjoying. The lockdown for me probably came at the right time.
Yeah, because you think that, like, you put out that post, probably it's probably about what, 5-6 months since you put out that post now.
Yeah, but that was the post was put on the 23rd of April. It was the day of my birthday.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that was the whole thing around the post. That it was just the fact that I was able to be there and celebrate my birthday. Whereas 2 months previous to that, I couldn't have seen me standing there, like.
Yeah.
And that for me was a huge thing, like.
And
So,
sorry, go on, yeah.
That'll go.
No, I was just going to say, with the lockdown coming, it's been a lonely time for a lot of people. But as you said, that you found positives in it for yourself, that you've been able to, I suppose, find that love in football and spend more time with your family. And
for me personally, I was able just to reset. Like, and one of the things that someone told me, the strongest base a person can start as rock bottom. And that's, like, you can't go any lower than that.
Yeah.
So, the only way is up from there, and that's, for me, lockdown kind of came at the right, even though it's not the right time, but for me personally, it was the right time. I was able to reset. I was able to reevaluate things that were going on in my life and get rid of the negative vibes that were around, and the different things that were going on in my life. And I've been able to focus on the more important things that have gone on, and being able to just get a smile back on my face going around, like, playing football, like.
Definitely, yeah. And even as you were saying, like, you've given us, I suppose, a detailed description of what the benefits are of you putting up that post, and it's something that even if only 5 people listen to this podcast, that they will
look. It's not even that. It's not even 5 people. If one person can just relate to something that I went through, that's all. That's all that matters. And if they ever wanted to get in contact, again, no problem. Like, they have, easily found on Instagram and Twitter, like. But if it can help even one person from that, and that's the thing. And there was people that texted me afterwards and said that they were struggling, and for me, that was huge. Like, they felt that they could trust me with it, and, like, and again, Jason Sherlock is one that has helped me a lot. Johnny McGee, and it's these old school players that have come out and have really helped me come to the next stage. And same with Paddy, and the lads from Ballymun have been a huge help. Like, in the club, again, have been fantastic with me. I think you can't take it away from the people that I grew up with, and the people, like, the club that I've played with for all my life. Like, and that's what people need. It's the community. It's just the support of your friends and family around you. And unfortunately, for people, when they have mental health issues and they don't see anything else, like, when you can fall back on that, and nowadays, if I feel like I'm having a bad day, I just pick up the phone and I might have just a conversation. It could be just a 2-minute phone conversation with someone, but again, it just gets rid of everything, like.
Definitely, yeah. And it could have been, it would have been very easier for you to just click unpost or delete that post, and it could be still wrapped up all the things you wanted to say still.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's not something that I'm ashamed of of where I've been or what happened. Like, at the end of the day, that has been that's a huge part of my life now recently, and, like, again, like, I'm not going to shy away from the difficulties that have come from that. But again, we have to remember there is a bigger life than outside of the coppers on a Saturday night or the Sunday points or
Yeah,
and
yeah.
every just all that crap. And that's one of the things that I've been able to just reset and re evaluate and just re-energize myself, like, and just get back to normal now for my own peace of mind, like.
Brilliant. And I'm glad you shared that as well. And as you said, if it helps one person at all or helps anybody in any way, hopefully it does. Just to, as I said, bouncing on to different topics.
Yeah.
We kind of do this with, I do it the majority of personalities, I suppose, around the GA that have come onto the podcast. There's a few like quick fire sort of questions.
Right.
Nothing, I said it to you before now, I won't go stinging you with anything. It won't be anything too hectic. So, and a few of these, I suppose, we could kind of answer. I could probably answer them for you.
Right.
So the first one is your biggest influence growing up in your footballing career.
Easy, Paddy
Yeah.
Christie.
Second one there is your favorite boots.
Preds, 2002 Preds.
Yeah.
The Predatoranians couldn't beat them. I always had the top laces open, the tongue right down to the end.
Yeah, because I only got a pair myself, I'd say 2 weeks ago. I bought one of these remakes, the €100 remake pairs you can get that might not last a whole pile. And I actually bought them. I can't remember where the site is from. They came from China, but I can't remember where the site was from that your mom was selling them from. But anyways, they looked the part and everything. But what happened was a friend of mine had bought them probably about 2 months ago, and the week after he was sending me pictures of them saying how they looked apart and everything. So I bought them the week after, and his took about a month and a half to come, and by the time his came, it was about a 3 week window between his landing and mine landing, and that's basically the time his had bust on him altogether. So I was left there €100 down, and I'm thinking I could get probably 2 training sessions or half a game out of these boots, or else I'll have to put them into a glass cabinet or something. But they look
every year without fail, I used to go, and used to come out around September, October, reading around when the football season kind of came back, like.
Yeah.
And every year without fail, I'd go and buy a pair, like. And then I remember the rugby ones came out with the blue, where they were blue.
Yeah.
Blue ones, yeah, they were nice ones as well. Now.
Yeah, savage boot. Yeah, and it's nearly everyone that comes on the podcast says the Manias. Like you really can't beat them. Next one up then is your favorite venue outside your home ground to play in.
Like just a club pitch or a stadium, like.
Anything out, just as long as it's outside your home ground. Yeah.
Burles. Yeah.
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 So you would have played in Thurles with the club.
Played with the club and played with the Dublin 21s as well.
Okay. So So the games that you played then, so you would have had.
We lost. Yeah, we played Cork in 2000. Could have been 2009. Cork had Aidan Walsh, Colin O'Neill, Kieran Sheen all playing for them.
Okay.
And they beat us by a point that day. And like we had a decent team. We had Paddy Andrews, Warriors Carroll, Johnny Cooper, and a few others, to name a few. Like,
yeah.
That was the first time we ever played Thurles, and even then, back then, it was huge, and the pitch was always just perfect. Like. And then when we played with Ballymundan as well against Dr. Crokes, again same thing, just the pitch was just like a carpet. Like.
Yeah, and was it that was what it was for you? So just the surface.
Yeah, the pitch, like the pitch in general was just really nice, and obviously, like when he played in Crow Park, then afterwards, like again, like the Crow Park was unbelievable. It's a great experience for anyone if you ever get to do it. I just Thurles for me outside Dublin and stuff like that now be the pitch I love playing on. Like.
The next question here for you, Ted. So we've seen a lot of rule changes the last 2-3 years. There's been rules that have worked, but most of them haven't. And there's question marks over a lot. But if there was one rule that you could bring in or bring back, what rule would that be?
Oh, bring in or bring back?
Because get rid of one. Well, you can get rid of one either. Because there have been There have been a
Yeah.
few different ones that have come on saying they might give 2 points for a sideline put straight over, or they'd bring back the black card instead of bring back the black card as a substitute instead of a sin bin, but have the rules
Yeah,
more
no,
drilled in on that.
I think in ways the rules they should be more clear. The forward mark, I'm not really like it's great for a forward, but I think it kind of slows the game down then as well, and people are kind of unsure about it.
Yeah.
And you're playing a match and the fella, like if he catches a ball and he forgets to put his hand up, and then all of a sudden then he puts his hand up, then we're like, for the referee, some referees when they say, yeah, right, Grant, take your free shot at goal then, like.
Yeah.
For me, that would be one thing I'd change. Get rid of it. And this is me saying as a forward, like, get
Yeah,
rid of the
I know. I'd
forward
be the
mark.
same mind as you, definitely, because I play the forwards myself. I'd be of the same mind as well. It's
Yeah.
nearly too much like the Aussie rules sort of a thing. Like,
Look, come here, look. If you're gonna go along the Aussie rules, bring in the tackle. Let them
yeah,
all day long. I'll take that.
yeah. But like, it's slowly but surely the sort of rules coming in. It's like nearly like the international rules
Yeah.
series sort of a game.
But the thing is, I think it'd be great if they did start bringing in stuff like that. If that's what you were going to look at along the lines of bringing in more Aussie rules, like let lads train, get them better, like, and get them more equipped for it, so they know that there's a mark all over the pitch, and it doesn't have to be just 45 out, kicking outside of 45 in, like.
Yeah, and
You know, if you're going to bring in, because you have the midfield mark and you have the forward mark now. Like,
and the defensive
where
one too.
are you going to go? Yeah, well, that's again like. Well, how many times do you see it?
Yeah, like I've even seen it, even probably underage more than adult games, that a lad might catch a ball clean the full back line. It could be a simple pass down the line to the corner forward. The corner back comes out and takes in front from the ref, blows the whistle, and then he's
But
kind
you
of
have to put the hand up, though. The problem is,
I don't know, is it just in Sligo or not, but what's happening here is the referee will blow the whistle anyways.
no, they have to put the hand up to call for a mark if it's inside the 45, and that's where we've been caught a few times with it. Like, whereas I'm calling for the mark and the referee's no, he has to put the hand up, and that's the rule. Like, or like it's same thing as the gum shield one as well.
Yeah,
like some people, like again, like you have to protect everything. Like, but
yeah,
I think sometimes common sense has to prevail as well.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. But just on that with the mark. So just from what's happening here, anyways, is the referees are blowing the whistle that if, let's say, if I put a ball into you in the inside line,
Yeah.
and the referee blows the whistle so that you know the ball has travelled enough of a distance so that you know that you're able to get the mark, and then you put your hand up. That's
No,
more
that
of a
doesn't
reminder that the referees are doing it. But then what's happening is the cornerback's hearing this whistle and he's stopping and looking up the refs. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah. No, that's not happening here. Like, it's if the lad puts his hand up, if the ball is kicked, puts the hand up, well, yeah, then the referee will call it. But the thing is, you don't know if it's travelled enough distance, and the lads are putting their hand up, and the referee's saying no. So again, there's a confusion on that as well. Because sometimes the guy might feel like if the ball's kicked in, you're calling for it, and the referee says, "Oh no, it wasn't travelling enough distance." I think there just needs to be a bit more clarity on that one.